What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the Thursday night live stream. You will see and hear that things are a little bit different because we are right outside of Nashville because tomorrow starts the Amigo Guitar Show in Franklin, Tennessee. So that's where we are. What you can't see is there are guitars and parts everywhere stacked up in the module around me. And so tonight we are going to talk about actual advancements in guitar technology. If you have guitar questions about that, people want to say that Leo Fender and whoever got it right the first time, and the truth is they didn't. Anytime you invent something, there's going to be iterations that make improvements, and so we're going to talk about a couple of those things. If you have questions, get them in the chat. And I will put a bunch of question marks in front of them and I will try to get to them. We have some Patreon and YouTube questions first. And I left left them open to the public so we could get a few extra because I am by myself tonight. That's the other thing. Zeba got sick. And so we had to take him to 2 different vets yesterday. And like a couple of classic vibes worth of vet. And so Leslie opted to stay home and make sure that he was okay. He's fine. He'll be okay. He just he has some digestive issues that every once in a while get so bad that we had to do something about it yesterday. So anyway, he's okay, but she opted to stay home, so therefore I am flying solo. A couple of things that I want to tell you before we get going. One, you may have gotten an email. You may have not gotten an email. The show special for everything at the show in Nashville is 20% off everything that you see on the table. So what I thought I would do for those of you that cannot make it is for the length of this guitar show, we're going to do the same thing on the website. So if you've been holding off on getting something, feel free to go to the website right now. It should be live right now. And you don't have to put a code in or anything. Order what you want. Now it only applies to pickups. Okay. So it doesn't apply to pots and caps and stuff. Those are fixed costs for us, right? So but it's because we brought a bunch of pickups, so I figured, well, let's put the pickups on sale, make it fair to everybody, since this is a local show to me, and you may not be local to me, but you still might want to get something at the show special. So that's what we're going to do. So there we go. That's what I want to tell you. So go to DylanTalksTone right now. In fact, let's put the little dude up there so you can scan that thing and go to the website and buy some stuff. So that's cool. And as you just saw that super chat pop up, or you didn't see that super chat pop up, but you will, you can send a super chat. Some upside down money towards vet bills for Zeba. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was not an easy day. It was and of course I've got all this stuff going, so it was super stressful on top of it. We were at the emergency vet last night until 11:30 or something. So, okay. So let's discuss this a little bit. We're going to get into some Patreon questions, but here's what we want to talk about. Somebody's going to ask in the Patreon questions basically this idea of, when do they actually start making parts better? I'll give you an example. Okay. Couple examples. In the thumbnail is the patent from Seth Lover. It did not have adjustable screws on one side. That was a marketing thing that Gibson added later, but now everybody likes it. And so it stayed. That is one example. And there are many other examples. 5-way switch over a 3-way switch in a Stratocaster, for example. That tended to be viewed as an improvement because people wanted it, right? the contours on a Telecaster. Now, people that are very traditional will say that that's not an upgrade, but for those of us who are actually human beings and shaped like human beings, sometimes we appreciate the ergonomics that are afforded by that. So, et cetera, et cetera. There are various things that come into play. So let's go through some of these questions, and I want to see if there's anything that you've thought of that you're like, this was a super vintage feature that I'm glad that they improved upon. And then we'll talk about them as you think of them. This is the rig of the week. I picked this because, I mean, 3 P90s in a Strat body, that's pretty rad. So we're going to probably give away some stuff, I think, next week, right? So, yeah, there you go. First question. You mentioned it in a video this week that Leo Fender used various stuff when making early guitars. I'm curious, at what point in history did guitar companies begin actually producing parts specifically for their instruments? And what kinds of things do we see in the modern guitars now? Okay, this is an interesting question. So this is what made me think of the thumbnail, or the theme for this site. There was a lot of, so first of all, the magnet technology was used obviously in electric motors and telephones and stuff like that. Those little magnets that go in pickups were used in telephones, like, you know, the rod magnets. Fish paper, which is what Forbon, which is what the flat work is made out of, is still used today as an insulator between, between like transformer stages and stuff. I order my fish paper. It's actually, I don't order it from a guitar parts company. I order it from a huge electrical engineering, electrical supply company out of Pennsylvania that, I think that, no, maybe they're not in Pennsylvania. That's where I used to get it. There's a couple companies that make it. And you have to get it in the right thickness. And that's one of the reasons why it comes in the thicknesses that it does, because they are available in that, whatever it is, the 93 thousandths and 62 thousandths, or whatever the thicknesses are for the top and bottom flat work. It actually comes on big rolls and then they flatten it. and it comes in huge sheets, 4x8 sheets, and I have them cut them down so that it's easier to ship. But even that, for example, is something that's made now, not for guitars, but we use it for guitars. Switches, all the pots, like those are all still, used for all kinds of stuff. Pickup wire is actually not used for pickups very much. There was a time about 8 or 9 years ago where there was, I don't want to say a shortage on pickup wire, but Boeing had a big project doing something. And from my supplier at the time, I don't use them anymore, but at the time, I could not get 42 something. I can't remember what wire it was, but I couldn't get it for like 3 months. And we had to substitute the wire that I wanted because Boeing bought all of it. Like they bought as much as they could get because they were doing some kind of project. So, probably some mind reading thing for the government. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so that's an example of stuff where we're still using, what do they call it in the medical field? Like off-label medications. We're using off-label parts for guitars, right? We're using stuff that's not made for it. So that's an interesting thing. Shane, good morning, lovable Leslie and dashing Dylan. Last week I spent an evening, like I'm sure we all did, scouring the internet for third-party Jazzmaster copies. My findings that all companies replace the JM pickups with P90s, Sire being an exception. Why do these companies not just put the JM pickups in their guitars? And how close does a P90 sound to a Jazzmaster? Can a P90 work in a Jazzmaster rhythm circuit? That's a good question. I don't know why, because P90s are way more expensive to make than Jazzmaster pickups. Way more. I mean, we charge the same price for a Strat pickup as we do for a Jazzmaster pickup, and P90s are $20 more because the parts are way more expensive and they take way longer to make. So I don't know why that is, to be honest with you. Probably because I want to do a video about Jazzmaster versus P90 because a lot of people conflate the two. Even on comments on our videos, they're like, those are Jazzmaster pickups, those are P90s. Could we talk about Jazzmaster P90s? Well, they're not the same, right? So we should talk about that. They do sound very, very, very different. But we need to make a video about that. Ryan, hello, team DTT. The recently received and installed center punch, bridge, and slat 6 neck humbuckers sound phenomenal. Killer combo. Love the engraving. Ready to reveal any early preview of new product on tonight's show that will be on display at the Nashville Guitar Expo this weekend. We showed some stuff on Instagram. We do have some kind of special edition short run stuff. We do have some tumbled, some stonewash stuff that's pretty rad. And I need to find this email because you asked another question and I need to find it. Because I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. Okay. And the next question Ryan asked is, what is your booth number? And my booth number is 5044. I do not know where that is, but 5044. I will find that out in the morning. All right, let's go through some of these and see if anybody comes up with anything that they want to talk about as far as old stuff that has been changed. No TTG today. I noticed that. I logged on early to see that. My evening is going well. Hang on, let's see if... Sorry, I'm doing this by myself tonight, obviously, so it's a little less efficient. The first tellies were supposed to be walnut, but when the shipment arrived, it was all wormy. I did not know that. Also, the first telly design didn't have a truss rod, right? So that's another big design change. And they experimented... the reason we changed woods and stuff was really because of supply and, trying to get all that stuff. It's positively staggering that guitars haven't really progressed significantly in overall technology, and it's 100% the player's fault. 100% I agree. The thing is that by design, the guitar is kind of terrible, but that's what makes it lovely. We talk about intonation being right. Well, it's never right? It can't be right. Because of the design of the guitar. And so, you could say, well, a piano or there's other instruments that intonate better, but for example, but it's inherent to the design. So it's always a compromise. And there's a lot of things with the guitar that are a compromise. And if you're not willing to, the Evertune is an excellent example. The Evertune self-adjusts and the guitar stays in tune, right? With tension changes and all this various stuff. And there's different ways to set them up. It's really neat. But the reason people don't adopt that is because it changes the guitar, the way the guitar works. They feel different. They play different. For those of you that have played with one, Oh, wow. 63 months of membership. Thank you, sir. Hope puppy gets well soon. Yeah, I hope he does too. The old is better school reminds me of the guys sweating their butts off in the woods, carrying army surplus gear, even though modern stuff is better made, lighter, etc. I think about that too. I remember when I was a kid, I lived in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan when I was really little. And the winter times were like brutally cold. And in the, 70s and 80s, we dressed like moon men to stay warm. It was like your jacket was basically a sleeping bag. And you had these huge parkas and huge boots. And remember the moon boots that everybody, they weren't actually that warm. And sorels and all these. And now we have super neat fabrics and stuff, and you can have a jacket that's that thick and you stay warm, and all of those materials have are in a position to make guitars better. Whether we as guitar players accept them or not, that's another story. They are still inventing so many nice things. Say hi to Leslie and the fam. I sure will. Which modern guitar company uses old style nitrocellulose without poly sealer and stuff that can prevent the guitar from aging? So nitrocellulose will age even if it's on top of sealer. It needs to be on top of sealer. If it doesn't, it sucks into the wood and goes away. So it needs to be on top of sealer. Any professional company's main goal is to make not to make products, is to make money. Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Sometimes a vintage guitar is perfect because of the sum of its parts. Sometimes it's crap. No, it's true. I have picks made from 50s jacket buttons. Oh, that's interesting. I think Fender makes some good stuff and bad stuff. Yeah, me too. Let's see. Even acrylic paints were, oh yeah, they're terrible. They used to be terrible. Hang on, I'm trying to go back through here because better plastics. Some of the old plastics did not age well. Well, and honestly, a lot of the plastic wasn't plastic. Butyrate wasn't really plastic. The the pickguard stuff and the pickup cover stuff, whatever you call that stuff. I don't know why I can't remember that. Is and celluloid and all that stuff was all not plastic. It was all basically natural stuff. Any ideas for deading truss rod rattle? Man, if you have truss rod rattle on a 2019 USA American Fender Strat, are you sure it's the truss rod rattling? If it is, you need to get that warranted, to be honest with you. You mentioned that the Flat 6 was based off of Friend's 60s pickups. Yes. Did you shoot for the exact same tone, or did you use it as a starting point? I went for the same tone. However, the reason they're called Flat 6s is because they have flat pull pieces to go with more modern, bigger variety of modern fretboard radii. 7 1/4 and old school string technology meant staggered pull pieces. And so the mid 60s stuff, his guitar is very interesting. It was in 1966, and that's a transition guitar, which was basically a parts bin guitar that was made after pre-CBS, after CBS bought it, but it was made with like drawer parts, new old stock parts from before that. So it had a weird mix. That's why they call it a transition guitar. And there's a transition logo and it on the peg head and stuff. It's a very interesting guitar. And it honestly, the reason I used that guitar to develop it is because I used it, and then not long after he got it, the bridge pickup quit. Or the neck pickup quit, and the bridge pickup needed repotting. And so we used that guitar because we knew we had to do all that work to develop that pickup. Yeah. Yep. That was a long time ago. It was super fun. To the push-pull pots. Oh, let's see. I'm not catching that. I have 59 and 57 Fenders and Les Pauls. Too much nickel and frets. Bridges, which dented and bowed. Bakelite, thank you. Yes. Yeah, that's an interesting one too. The metallurgy has definitely gotten better. Frets have definitely gotten better. The cryogenically treated Stumac frets are freaking amazing. They're really, really good. I've got them on a bunch of stuff, and they're really good, right? They're way better than stock frets, and they're way better than any kind of vintage frets. I also think, people thought that, there was only a couple of fret sizes at first. And once you start realizing, wait a minute, you can really change up a guitar with fret size, taking an old Junior and putting real frets in it, it's actually pretty cool. if you want to do that. I'm gonna have to save up for another pickguard. Yeah, heck yeah, dude. Put a little more tension on the truss rod and it'll stop the rattle. It might. Yeah. So if you just change, it's possible that your neck is totally neutral. And what Tim is saying is it's possible that you have I would assume this is what he's saying, is that when you have the truss rod totally neutral, there's no tension on it because your neck doesn't need any tension because it's where you want it already. And so now that rod is just kind of vibrating around in there. If you give it like a quarter of a turn, not to move the neck, but just to set that truss rod against the channel inside, maybe it will stop rattling. That's a thing that you could do. So yeah, thank you for that contribution, Tim, because you're right about that. The old style split tuners on Fenders are one of the best things from the past. I agree. And then the worst things are like the Bakelite tuning keys, right? They all break off and crumble and stuff. We have some questions that came in from Patreon or from YouTube too. Let me see if I can grab these real quick. Can you play the banjo? Okay, I'm from Georgia, but I'm not that from Georgia. I have a friend who's a very good banjo player, and it's interesting to watch him play it. I don't understand it. Is there a noticeable difference in sound or stability for a bolt-on neck guitar having a neck plate versus having the 4 screws with separate grommets? Not really. It can change the fitment. It can change how you approach the tolerances, but no. Here's the thing about that. People want to make a huge deal out of neck attachment. It's a funny thing to me that people want to make a big deal out of like bolt-on versus set neck versus, neck through and all that. And then how you do it, right? With a screw or with a grommet. But the bottom line is when you put 2 pieces of wood together, okay, so you have a bolt-on neck and you set the neck into the neck pocket. And then it's like if you put 15 pounds of pressure between those 2 surfaces or 20 pounds of pressure between those 2 surfaces, it doesn't change anything. If it's flatly mated together with no gaps, then it's flatly mated together with no gaps. And if it's pushed, if it holds, then it holds. There's more tension doesn't make more tone. I'm saying that because that's what people think. So, if you put 15 foot-pounds versus 20 foot-pounds and inserts allow you to do that, you're not changing anything because the neck is mated to it. Even if you run a shim and there's a gap in there, still at the attachment points, you're still going to have contact between the 2 things. You could probably, in fact, I think this is funny. I bet I should do it. If you took the 4 screws out of a Strat, okay, and you put 4, I don't know, it makes me think of phosphor bronze washers that go in a knife, okay? And you put 4 because they're machined really well. So you put 4 of those in between the neck so that the neck is actually off of the body, but then screw it down to the correct torque, you wouldn't lose any sustain. Because the pressure with which it's down onto the body is still the same. It's the same thing that people want to make a huge deal out about. I screw my tailpiece all the way down on my Les Paul. Okay, fine. But it actually doesn't go all the way down because if you look at the way the threads work in there, So if you have a bolt that's this long, because that bolt's that long and the threads are that long, and the insert that it screws into is this long. If you have screws, if you have a screw, the threads this far or this far, the contacts of the threads are still the same length. So it's not tighter. You have the same tension on the same level, the same amount of threads. It's not tighter. It doesn't do anything. Because the tension's not, from an engineering standpoint, is not on the wood. It's actually on the threads. And the number of threads active does not change unless you have the thing so far up that it's like out of the screw holes. But you don't, because those bolts are so long. It's just kind of dumb. Like, the engagement number of threads does not change. Therefore, the tone does not change because the contact does not change. Same thing with a bolt-on neck versus a not bolt-on neck. You could take a bolt-on neck or a not bolt-on neck and glue it into the guitar, and it doesn't change anything. Let's see. Safe travels. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. Yeah, those are kind of funny things that I think are hilarious. What's the optimal height for a nut? And how do you check it without the StewMac digital gauge? You can use feeler gauges. I personally like about 12 to 15 thousandths, but it will also depend on the quality of your fretwork. Because if your fretwork is all over the place, you lower your, because you think everything's angles and everything is compromise of angles. So if you lower your nut way down and fret number 4 is too high, then you have a problem. So make sure that your fretwork is good first. Over tightening lug bolts on a wheel doesn't make the wheel more secure. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, from an engineering standpoint, it's about thread count when it comes to a bolt. And, well, there's a whole bunch of things. There's shear strength and tensile strength and all that stuff. But one of the things I think about with guitar stuff that people they can't get it through their heads is that guitars aren't that much of anything. 100 pounds of pressure on, a neck, on a saddle, on a bridge, on, anything. People talk about, well, yeah, but my Les Paul and the studs started to move. That's bad metallurgy. That's what we're talking about in this conversation. Like, you get modern stuff, it won't do that. It won't do that. And if you don't screw your tailpiece down all the way, it won't do that. If you make your brake angle super, super drastic, it won't do it. If you don't do that, it won't do it. Learn anything new about caps? Yeah, I got a white one. We'll see how long it stays white. Are you coming out to the Colorado Guitar and Luthier show? No, but we are coming out in July to Matt's deal. Thanks for the fretwork and setup videos. Help me to improve so that I can finally set up a guitar well to fit me. That's awesome, dude. I appreciate that. Did you learn anything new about caps? I'll tell you one of the things that people want me to learn about caps is they want me to say that they should be polarized. You should actually be able to turn them over, and when you touch it, it's noisy, and when you turn it over and put it in the other way, you touch it and it's not noisy. And it's stupid. It is true. It can be true, depending on the cap. It can be true, but it doesn't make any difference. Because you don't touch your cap while you play. It's dumb. It's a dumb argument because it's not relevant to real life. Let's see. hang on, I am. Do you think Leo Fender improved on the designs when he designed G&L? No, I think he made weird stuff at G&L. I think that, here's what I think. Well, it's pretty easy to see. When he lost, when I say he lost, when he sold the company, he could not make the same thing again, either in principle or legally. I don't know the particulars of that, but I got to do something different. So he made weird strats, and they're weird. They're just weird strats. Super chat. Thanks. Oh, we already read that one. I'm sorry. I guess you got two. Fender and Gibson didn't get it right the first time because they invented a new thing. When's the last time any invention was perfect the first time? Exactly. And that's why iterations on it. Like as much as people want to say that like the modern Les Pauls with the cool neck heel scallops and all that stuff aren't traditional, there's a lot of players that are like, actually, it's kind of nice, Yeah. Not relevant inside a guitar, makes a difference in an amp, for example. Correct, because the function is different. The voltages are different. The current draw is different. Yes. Oh, let's see. Hello, can you demonstrate one of your single coil humbuckers for the bridge position on a Fender Strat style guitar? I mean, I can't right now. I don't think I have a center punch in a Strat right now, but when I get home, we could do that. Yeah, we could absolutely do that. That's a move. That's a really cool setup, actually. I recommend it. If you put two classic fives and a center punch in a Strat and coil split the center punch, it's awesome. Conversely, if you put a center punch in the neck position of a Telecaster, coil split it, and then put a flat 6 in the bridge, that's also awesome. Let's see. What else we got? Hang on. I'm going to go back through these comments and make sure I didn't miss anything. If anybody else has got any guitar questions that maybe aren't even relevant to our conversation, put them in there. Or off-topic stuff, too. It's totally cool. Because it's just me tonight. I have, it's a little different because, I don't have Leslie here to help me. And it is way different without her, I have to say. I did get a new knife yesterday. Got my first Heretic. Brianna has a Heretic, but I don't. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's an automatic side opening, MagnaCut, super cool bronze blade. Yeah, I like it a lot. So, just got that yesterday. And then I actually got another one. I should actually, hang on one second. I'm going to shout this out because this isn't exactly off topic, but it sort of is off topic, on topic. You can get these at eknives.com, and we actually have a affiliate link with them. So eknives.com, I think there's a link in the description, or maybe there's one on our website on our affiliates page. But this company, in fact, he was on a live stream a couple weeks ago. This company, Notorious EDC, out of Nashville, actually, although he's at Blade Show, Texas this weekend. He is a guitar player, and so he watches our videos all the time. And I did not know this. And he makes pocket knives. And so this is a titanium, jigged titanium, like jigged etched titanium slip joint. And I really, really like it. And so he makes these. So he sent me one. And he sent me a couple other things too. A couple of other little bits and bobs. Sent me a pen. He does a Big Idea design collaboration with making a pen. Actually, it's this pen, but with a bottle opener built into the end of it. So I gave that to Leslie because she really wanted it. So yeah, that was really cool. And so I appreciate him. His name's Tom. Go check out Notorious EDC. He supports the channel weirdly because he just sent me he just said, you know what he said? And I really appreciate this. He said, we don't charge for any of this stuff, right? Like, we make all these videos. We don't charge for any of it. And he was just like, as a person who just plays guitar, I want to learn stuff. And he's like, thanks for your contribution to teaching people stuff. And I just want to say thank you. And so he sent me a pocket knife and a couple of little things. So yeah, shout out to him. So I know it's a little off topic, but it's not, because it's just, crossing communities, appreciating what each other does. It's really, really cool. What humbucker work would you suggest in the bridge position of a Telecaster? Center punch, for sure. I would put a center punch in there. Let's see. What else did everybody say? Now that I gave you guys some chance to make some comments in here. What are your thoughts on using screws as pull pieces? We do it on a bunch of different stuff. Not having the tone control of the bridge single coil on a Strat was something of a miss. Yes. When we do loaded pick guards, we always do that. We make that bottom tone do the bridge. It's a simple move to make. It's easy to mod. So we do all of ours that way. And so, yes, I think that was a great improvement. Absolutely. That's a great improvement. Good call on that one. Simple thing makes the guitar so much easier, so much more versatile. 100%. I actually think Fender tried to address the problems with the original Stratocaster with the Jazzmaster: knob placement, switching options, fret numbers, and trem design choice. Yeah, except it's worse. Well, I guess it depends who you talk to. Jazzmasters are really cool if they're set up right. But to me, and I know how to set up a guitar or two. They're more finicky to set up than a Strat is. I think the Strat was supposed to be an evolution of the Tele, and the Jazzmaster was supposed to be not an evolution of the Strat. It was supposed to be a step up, like the fancy guitar. You know what I mean? Like the custom. That's what it was supposed to be. More feature packed, more buttons, more switches. And nicer. My mom passed away a month ago. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, bro. When I got home from the hospital that night, I watched your latest live video. Have had pretty much been watching a video every night. Longtime follower. Thanks for the content. Oh, thanks, dude. I appreciate that. And I'm sorry to hear about your mom. Let's see. I just bought a little bug out with the carbon fiber scales. Oh, rad. Let's see. Will you be participating in the TTG Tele build off? And will you be teaching any classes that weekend? Oh, that's a great question. So, we are participating in the TTG Tele build off, but we are not competing. Brianna and I are building a guitar, but it is not going to be a competition. It's not going to be entered in the competition because I'm a sponsor of that event. So I just felt like it would be a little weird to compete. So instead, I told Matt that we would make our guitar one of the prizes. So somebody will win the guitar that we build. So that that gives us an opportunity to participate without being, I don't want anybody to, since we're so involved with Texas Toast Guitars and we do a lot of stuff with them, I just felt weird about actually competing. But so we'll go ahead and just make it one of the prizes. As far as one of the classes go, now there is a VIP ticket that you can get for that weekend. And the Thursday of that weekend, we are going to be doing a pickup workshop, and a set of pickups and a guitar body are included in the price of that VIP ticket. So you will see how pickups are made. You will be this whole kind of interactive workshop thing, and you will take home with you a Telecaster body and a set of our pickups. So I don't know if they're sold out yet, but I do know that that is a thing, and it's on the Thursday of that week, and it's going to be rad. I'm super excited about it. Brianna's coming with me. She's going to help me with that demo stuff, because, you know, she can wind the heck out of a pickup now too. So any opinion on the Jim Irsay auction? You know, I don't know. I think whatever people want to pay for a guitar is fine with me. I don't have a problem with something I decided. I got it actually from a watch channel. It's a watch channel that I watched, you know, talking about wristwatches. Something I want to stop doing. There's a couple of words that I don't like. One of them is worth. One of them is value. You know, budget. I don't like those words because they mean something different to everyone. And so I've been given a lot of thought to how to present products, ideas, and talk about things that allow a person, all of you, to have your own opinion. I mean, you're obviously allowed to. I'm just saying I don't want to affect your opinion of what, you know, if you don't think a guitar is worth something, then you're not wrong, because it's not worth it to you. If it's worth it to me, then I'm not wrong either, because it is worth it to me and I like it. Like, you know, those words don't mean anything really. And so trying to figure out how not to use those words in a way that alienates anybody, and to just present content and products and knowledge in a way that's like, look, here it is. You can do something with it. If you choose not to do something with it, that's totally fine. Because to be honest with you, I just want people to play guitar. It doesn't make a difference to me whether the guitar is $200 or $20,000. I just want you, and I will, if me and you are sitting down with an amp, it could be a Crate Blue Voodoo, it could be a Line 6 Spider Jam, or it could be a vintage Marshall or a Dumble. I will find joy in something about that experience. So it doesn't bother me what anybody plays, except for counterfeit stuff. I still don't want to have nothing to do with counterfeit stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to get away from that whole value proposition thing, because it's just so different for everybody. Are your capacitors installed backwards? Who cares, dude? Nobody cares. Have you been asked to be a judge? No, I have not, and I probably won't. I probably will not, because we will have a booth there with product, and, you know, sort of like what we're doing here, like a trade show booth. And we'll be doing, you know, product demos, and we'll be helping out with a lot of things logistically during the weekend. Here's what I really care about. I want Texas Toast Guitars to succeed. I want this event to succeed. A lot of people are like, well, you're just, you know, you have a vested interest in them because they use your pickups. To be honest with you, if he never used another one of my pickups again, A, it would not hurt my business at all by percentage. And B, he is a good friend of mine, and I love him, and We have been friends for a long time. We will always be friends. We have had conversations about business so that we don't step on each other's toes, so that we have a great understanding between each other, and he is my friend. So if he never bought another pickup from me, if he started making his own pickups, I would not care. He is one of my best friends, especially in the industry. He's one of my best friends, and so I would always support him. I want Texas Toast Guitars to be, the next PRS, maybe not the next PRS, maybe like anybody smaller, like I don't know, any of those kind of small, even Anderson or somebody like that, right? Like super boutiquey. You got it. If you know, but still very successful. And I want to see that happen for him. So I will always help him, no matter what. I would love to try a Dumble. I don't know if I would find joy. I would be too worried about it, whether I was good enough. Okay, first of all, you need to stop that. You were good enough to play a Dumble. I'll tell you how you find joy out of playing a Dumble. You know what an E chord is. Stand in front of that junk, turn all the knobs to 10, slam an E chord. I promise you, you will find joy. And I know that you are good enough to do that. Do not sell yourself short on ability to equipment. People that do that, they need to pound sand. That drives me freaking nuts. I hate that. I hate that kind of gatekeeping. Let's see. Hang on, I'm going back. Oh my God. The Engine Poltrine stuff, or however you say that, I just watched. Sometimes these weird videos will come up and our family is all sitting around because we hang out together a lot, like in the living room and whatever. And that video came out and Brianna was like, this is so weird. And Leslie was like, no. And I'm like, okay, weird costumes aside, I would totally go see that band. The problem with that band is after 3 songs, you kind of get their deal. And after that, I'm kind of, it's over, but it's cool. You may have answered this before, but how do you feel about PLEK? I'm trying to find out soon enough for myself, but just wondering your thoughts on it. I think that it is a very, so what PLEKing does, it's basically a CNC machine for frets. Okay. And it can do a lot of really neat things, but really it just makes sure that your fretwork is flat and really good. So if the operator is good and he knows what he's doing, it can give you a great baseline for a good setup. I like it. Would I get every guitar PLEKed? No, but there'd be a couple of things that I would. I know you're playing a lot of acoustic nowadays. I've decided to sell my Fender Custom Shop GT11 Strat to buy a Martin HD28. I've had a Taylor 214 CE for years, but that doesn't inspire me. Dude, okay, so I don't have an HD. I really tossed around buying an HD28. I really did. I think for me, and you've heard me say this before, I want the real thing, and I don't, it's not that the HD20 is not the real thing, but it's like, that to me is like the most traditional base for what everything else came after it, right? So that's why I chose the D28. I would probably buy an HD35 though, because I think they're beautiful. Dude, your life, I'm not saying your life will change, but how you approach the acoustic guitar will change. It's when people say that the guitar doesn't matter and it's only about practice and I think those people they're not wrong, right? Because being better as a guitar player, as you get skills and as you understand guitar more, you'll understand the nuances of why an instrument is the way it is, especially at those higher price points when the curve of cost benefit ratio is a lot shallower. However, even if you are not very skilled as a player, I am not. When I open the case of either of my Martins, I have an 18 and a 28. Before I even pick them up, like the smell, and I grab it, and the finish, and when you pick it up out of the case and it goes, and it comes out of the case because it fits so perfect, like everything is so good that you're just like, oh, this is awesome. And then you sit down and play, and same thing with the Dumble guy. You slam it. For me on an acoustic, it's either an E minor or a G. So I can hear all the strings do all the things at the same time. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And then I just want to keep going. I just want to keep playing. And my 18 and my 28 make me do different things. The 18 makes me want to play harder, like wear a hole in the pick guard harder. And my 28 makes me want to play more articulate stuff. Just absolutely incredible. Yeah. Even if you don't feel you're justified in owning that kind of stuff, do it anyway. Like, go try to experience it. There's just something about it, man. Yeah. There's not enough current in the guitar. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Good evening, everyone. I have several of your pickups, and I just ordered a couple of center punches. Oh, rad. Are you willing to do the custom engraving later on it if a cool idea comes to me? Yes, we could. It gets a little... People sending me stuff is really hard. You guys might not realize it, but I don't even know how to say this. I don't want to sound like I'm bragging. We make like 300 pickups a month. Okay. So figure, like, I'm in a house I have one of those big ass mailboxes, and we fill it up every day. And sometimes it's full and we have to go to the post office too. And we get so many packages from vendors, from people who want us to test stuff, from Amazon, from whatever. My garage, what y'all don't see in the videos, is we get a bulk trash pickup every week. And we have a literal pillar of boxes from the floor to the ceiling every week. Like every other week. It's every other week. I missed it this week. It was raining and I missed it. So now I'm going to have like bonkers cardboard. It is pretty tough for us to manage back and forth a lot of packages. And I've lost stuff, and I don't like to do that. We used to do repairs. Remember when we used to do the wide range humbucker rebuilds and stuff? We stopped doing those because logistically it just got too big. It got too much. And so that's why we don't work on people's guitars. That's why we don't, do repairs anymore. That's why we don't do any of that refurb stuff. We don't do rewinds because our outgoing load is so much that now, that it's manageable. Obviously, our wait times are way down. We're down to a week, maybe less sometimes, on pickups now. So, but man, people sending us stuff. I would love to be able to say yes, but I don't know that I can. Let's see. Let's see. Somebody's still banging on about noisy caps. Here's a problem with these. You know, if you want to feel like you're right, okay, you're right. Do you feel better? Like, does that make you feel better if I say, okay, you're right? I don't mean it. But here's the problem with these weird, esoteric, argumentative conversations about guitar stuff. Okay. Whether it be tone wood, whether it be the noise of the capacitor, all that kind of stuff. And invariably, because it's already happened, I've seen the comments, somebody will say, well, because hi-fi, because this other radio, because blah, blah, but a guitar is not any of that. You know, when you're looking at, and I say it all the time, guitars are dumb. Okay? If this is a smartphone, guitars are dumb. They are ancient technology. They're mathematically very complex. Like fret placement, strings, when you figure that the notes are a fifth apart and you've got this and where the frets go and the scale length and the note division and all that stuff. Somebody was thinking when they thought, okay, I need it to be this many fifths apart on the strings and in the notes, and I need it to be this scale length, and this fret needs to be this far from this one, except for these ones need to get a little wider and wider and wider, and et cetera, and the length and the height and everything in the math and when I put my fingers like this, now it's 145 is this over and over. Like all that math is bonkers. Like that's wicked cool, right? But that's not electric guitars. That's the instrument design in the beginning and music theory and stuff. But to electrify a guitar, to turn kinetic energy into an electronic impulse is the easiest thing to do. It's so easy. And so when people get so bogged down in all this stuff, it's just like, okay, what you're telling me is that I'm not going to invite you to a cocktail party because nobody cares outside of the people in the midst of the argument. Nobody cares. When I slammed that E chord into that dumble with that guy earlier, neither of us, whether he doesn't feel good enough to be in the room, but he does now because he slammed an E chord, nobody cares how it happened. Nobody. Neither of us. We're like, dude, this is rad. That's all we're thinking. And we do, and I made the mistake of getting too technical with this stuff from the very beginning of this channel. But when you get so in the weeds about that stuff, what I care about anymore about DylanTalksTone as a channel is helping somebody who's enthusiastic about guitars get the best results they can. That's really what I care about. And helping you make a good decision that's going to give you the most versatile, it's going to give you the best tool that you can. Now, if you're a person, and here's what I'll tell you. If you show up in my chat and you say, in fact, this just happened to me a couple days ago, and no shade on this guy whatsoever, none whatsoever. But a guy messaged me in the chat and he said, hey, would you make a set of Strat pickups to my specifications? And I said, I will listen to what you have to say, but I may not say yes. So he told me what he wanted. And he wanted, I want these very specific tone chasing things. And I want it to do this, 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 and this, and this. Now, could I give him that? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No big deal. But I told him no. And the reason I told him no is, and I didn't tell him no. I just said, look, I've got a couple of models already that we wouldn't have to do a whole lot to that will get you to the result that you want. But he wanted those very specific things. So we didn't match on how we approached the situation. No shade whatsoever. He's going to go figure it out and I'm interested to hear what his results are. So it's not a negative thing. But when people get that crazy, then it's just outside of, to me personally, what's important about how to make a guitar work well. And that's why I don't like any of that stuff. Stradivarius would be so disappointed to see how modern electric violin doesn't need to depend on resonance or anything he was concerned about. I disagree. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. The thing that I've learned from working with it, and you may be right, because I don't know him, but what I do know is that when you work with, because in my career before guitar stuff, and actually with guitar stuff, I worked with some very, very, very smart people and very, very innovative people. So if we say for a moment that Stradivarius was extremely innovative in his time with the technology they had available, that had nothing to do with anything except for in his mind, he was thinking things and making things happen. Like he was executing a vision that he had in his mind. So he was innovating on his, whatever level he was on, he was innovating. That personality type will always be innovating and will always be looking for innovation. Now, I don't know him, so maybe he's a person who's like, I only care about wood and blah, 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 blah. But I kind of doubt it. Like I always say, if you've ever seen the meme on the internet, for those of you that are newer, of Jimi Hendrix standing in front of a bunch of Marshalls, but there's actually Kemper heads on the Marshalls. If you zoom in on that picture, there's a Dylan logo on the peg head of that guitar. I made that meme. That's the most viral thing I've ever done in my life, is I made that meme. I believe that if he was alive today, he would be playing a Kemper. And the reason he'd be playing a Kemper is the same reason he played a new Stratocaster when he was playing. He played contemporary gear. He played new stuff. And he was an innovator. He was trying to find sounds. He was trying to stretch beyond, C, F, and G, and make noise. He was trying to innovate with sound. And so if you gave him a tool that he could further innovate with sound, I think he would do it. So I think people who have the mind of innovation will constantly innovate, and they will constantly be looking. Now, they may not adopt every innovation they see, but they will probably always, out of the corner of their eye, even in areas outside of guitar or outside of musical instruments in general, be looking at Formula One, be looking at other machining processes, be looking at other manufacturing processes, be looking at bicycles, be looking at whatever, because they're always looking for, that physical property of that thing. I wonder if I could apply that here, right? The traditional people who want slab body tellies, like, they're cool too, but they're not innovators. They're not innovators. Cool, man. I've never done much with alternate tunings. Why am I able to change my tuning about 2-3 whole steps without the intonation messing up? Because you're not changing the length. Intonation is all about the length of the string. If you change the gauge of the string, then it'll mess up. You guys, this has been fun. I am going to chill. I need to give my voice a break because I'm going to be using it a lot for the next 3 days. Keep an eye for YouTube shorts and maybe a little bit of a vlog video tomorrow at the show. Maybe tomorrow night I'll post maybe a bit of a vlog if I have time, because it's going to be crazy. But tomorrow I'll have more time than the rest of the weekend, so maybe we'll do that. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. This is super duper fun. We'll see you in the next video.